Hi, welcome once more. This is exchange rate lesson number 2. Now we are trying to deal with exam type questions. So Timothy will fly from the United States of America to mandatory Palestine to play in a tournament. Before he leaves, he wants to exchange. So he wants to exchange 2,580 for new Israeli shekel. Yeah, that's what he wants to exchange. The NIS. Now we have been given, you remember what I said with regards to this. First, cancel currency. What do you write? Units or unit. Come here, where it says pay, can simply put an equal sign so that it can be equal to what? 1, equal to 1, equal to 1, equal to 1. Again, equal to 1, equal to 1, equal to 1, equal to 1. But equal to 1 what? Per nis. So it's equals to 1 nis. 1 nis. 1 nis and 1 nis. And then this side, per unit. What is the unit? It's this one. So it will be equal to, okay, this is a fancy B. There is a Jord. There is South African rands. There is US dollars. Let's just put the dollar sign. That's how you do this. So now it becomes simple for you to answer the questions that follow. 5.1 or 5.2.1. State whether the new Israeli shekel is stronger or weaker than the South African rands. Before you can determine that, put both of them, write both of them. So first of all, let's start where we are. It's here because we're talking about the South African rand. So it says that 5.042841 South African rands can earn you a 1 nis. Again, if you just need 1 nis to get 5 rands, that means that this is weak and this is strong, because you need 1 of these to get 5 of these. So you can determine that even if we use the other one, of which we can use the other one, let's use this one as well. So by this, it shows, but let's use the other one as well. The other one says that, so 0.198301 nis is equals, this is where I am, is equals to 1 South African rand. It still proves what we are saying. You need 1 of South African rand, but to get 0.19, it still shows that weak, strong. So by this, we can tell that not the South African nis, I wanted to say the South African nis, there is no such a thing. By this, we can simply tell that the nis is stronger than the South African rand. So for the first question here, we can say that nis is stronger than the South African rand. So let's just say South African rand. Or someone can answer it the other way, can say that the South African rand is weaker than the nis. It's still the same thing. You can say that the South African rand is weaker than the nis. So state whether the new Israeli shekel is stronger or weaker. So it's stronger than the South African rand. Nis is stronger than the South. Let's go to the next one. Okay, why am I doing 2? It's 5.2.2. Calculate the amount Timothy will receive in new Israeli shekel. Remember, he's from the United States, so it's 2,580. So we have to convert. So now let's come to this one. So this is the conversion rate that we will be using. We are going to use both of them. I want to show you something with using both of them that you will, it might be slightly different, but it has to be the same at the end of the day. So you come here, you say, let's start with that one, 0.2731787. This is a lot of writing. US dollars can earn you 1 nis. So where are our dollars? Well, they are on the left. So we are going to say 2,580 US dollars. We put an X. What do we cancel? An X and a 1. When they're on the same side, we divide which one by which one? This one by the other one. So it's going to be 2,580 divided by 0.27317867. Let's see what we get. So when you say 2,580 and then you divide by 0.27317867, you actually get that it's going to be 9,444. Let's round it off to 2 decimal places. It will be 37 what? Nis. That's what you would get. Let's use the other one quickly. This one on this side, so that I want you to understand both sides. So here on the other side, you have 3.66061 Nis is equals to 1 US dollars. Now, where is our US dollars? Well, they are on the right. So 2,580 US dollars Nis we do not have. We cancel what? A 1 and an X. They are seated across. What do we do to them? We multiply them. 061 multiplied by 2,000. Let's get the answer. So 3.66.061. You multiply that by 2,580. See? So what I was talking about. 9,444 to 2 decimal places Nis. There? Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. But this and this is the same answer. That's how you do it. Now, let's continue to the next question. So the next question says that a tourist from Japan, let's use a raid. A tourist from Japan arrived in East London on the 26th of March 2022 to tour some parts of the Eastern Cape for a period of 5 days. He planned to use an average amount of 4,042.19 per day. So a day he just wants to use 4,042.19. Now, these conditions that are mentioned here, but particularly what we are focusing on, and the reason why we're not focusing on these conditions is because, remember, I have done this question, and these conditions, they have to do with other questions which are not here. For this particular question, it's this that we have to focus on. So here it says, calculate the total Japanese yen he exchanged for the 5 days, you see? So we are talking about these 5 days that he's planning to be touring some parts of the Eastern Cape. If the exchange rate between South African rand and Japanese yen on the day is given as, so they gave us this exchange rate, they want us to change how much for the 5 days. But if he planned to use an average amount of per day and he's going to be here for 5 days, the first thing that we are supposed to do is we are supposed to take the amount he's planning to use per day and we multiply it by the number of days this human being will be found in South Africa. So it's 4,042.19. When you multiply it by 5, you actually get 20,210.95 South African rands. Now, how do we convert it to Japanese yen so that we can see the total of Japanese yen he exchanged for the 5 days? Again, start with the conversion factor. The conversion factor says that 5 South African rand is equal to 37.51715 Japanese yen. Now, I know we are not there, but question quickly. Which one is strong? Which one is weak? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. South African rand, you need 5 to get 37 of Japanese yen. So the South African rand is stronger. The Japanese yen is weaker. Where is our South African rands? Well, they are on the left. So we are going to say 20,210.95 South African rand. It's equals to X. What do we cancel? X and a 1. Do we have a 1? No, we don't have it. when it's like this, like we did in the first lesson, like we did in the conversion factor video, you divide what is on the same side, you multiply by what is across. So 20,210.95 divide by F5. And then you multiply. I said you should do it at once. Just do it at once so that you can get the answer. So let's come here and simply say 20,210.95. 10,210.95 when you divide it by F5 and you multiply it by 37.51715. You actually get that you need 151,651 point. Round it off to two decimal places, it will be 4.5 Japanese yen. So this is how much Japanese yen he actually had to exchange for his tour in the Eastern Cape for that particular 5 days. So now let's go to the next one. So here on the next one, as you can see, okay, come back. Yes, there we go. So Joy needs a laptop which costs 5,999. She asked for the money from her sister who lives in the United States. So the sister is in the United States. Let's use a blue. So the sister is in the United States of America. The exchange rate was as follows. So this is a straightforward exchange rate. You need R1 to exchange or to get 0.05 US dollars quickly. Which one is weaker? Which one is strong? 1, 2, 3. You need R1 to get 0. Immediately, that should tell you that means this is weak. This is strong. How can I give you R1 and you are giving me 0? For the fact that it starts with 0, I gave you something that starts with 1. No. Now explain the term. What's that? What manner of English is this that I've been speaking lately? The term. Explain the term exchange rate. So exchange rate, like I said, it's the value of one currency. The value of one currency in terms of another currency, or someone can say it's the value of one currency relative to another currency. It's still the same thing. Was the South African rand strong? Oh, you see, we have even answered the question before we even got to the question. Was the South African rand stronger or weaker than against the US dollar? No, but this is general knowledge. Other things, they are just general knowledge. Let's say you didn't even know how to determine which is weaker and which is stronger. But by virtue of understanding the status quo, you would know that obviously the South African rand is weaker against the US dollar. It is as simple as that. It has been like that for many centuries, by the way. So the South African rand was the South African rand stronger or weaker against the US dollar? South African rand is weaker than US dollar. So the South African rand is weaker because they're asking, was the South African rand stronger or weaker against the US dollar? So South African rand is weaker against the US dollar, or it's weaker than the US dollar. Now let's get to the calculation. This is what we are here for, but we also collect these free marks. These free marks, they are there for the taking, and we are going to take them. Joy's sister gave her $300 US to buy a new laptop. She stated that the money would be enough. She stays in the United States. Let's test whether she understands mathematics. Most importantly, the exchange rate mathematics, because she gave her $300 US and she says, well, you know what? That's enough. Go buy the laptop. Okay, let's see. See, they are asking us, who mathematicians, to do what? To verify whether Joy's sister understands mathematics. So let's say here 2.2.3. What? First, exchange rate. 1 rand can earn you a 0.05 US dollars. Where are our dollars? Left or right? Right. Therefore, there we put them. There we put them. Do you know the particular passage that says that where the carcass is, there the vultures shall be gathered? I know you don't know that. I'm not even sure why I'm telling you that. Anyways, let's continue. You have to cancel an X and a 1. Now they are on the same side. What do we do to them? We divide. Which one by which one? What is at the bottom by what is at the top? 0.0545. So 300 divide by 0.0545. What do we get? We actually get... Where did I get this 0.0? What's wrong with me? It's that passage that I was mentioning. There's no 45. Where did I get this 45? Because it's only 0.05. Surely you are seated there and you're like, really? What's wrong with this human being? There's nothing wrong with me. Hence, I am coming back and I am saying that it's 0.5 instead of 0.0545. It's 6,000. Now, this becomes 6,000 South African rand. We could have done Joy's sister very wrong, saying she doesn't understand, while it is I who does not understand. Yes, it is indeed enough. Joy's sister is correct. Joy's sister is correct. It's going to be enough to purchase a 5,999 worth of a laptop, except I'm not sure about one thing. What is it that I'm not sure about? With what is she going to travel then? Okay, maybe she doesn't travel. She just purchased a laptop at a tuck shop. Let's continue. 2.2. So here, the value of currency fluctuates on a daily basis based on supply and demand. You know, I am seeing this referred to the reason why the exchange rate fluctuates. There are a lot of reasons. It can be because of the exchange rate policy that that particular country is using. We have free floating, we have managed floating, we have a fixed. It can also be because of political tensions, when there are political instabilities. It can also be because of foreign investment. It can be because of inflation. It can be because of interest. I'm sorry, this is not economics. Anyways, 2.2.1. Let's use a green. Green, where hast thou been for all this time? A says, which currency from the table above is the weakest? I should mention to you that because they didn't write 1 because they suppose by now you know that this means $1 US. This means that $1 US is equals to 13.82 rands. This means 1 Canadian dollar. This means 1 British pound. This means 1 euro. This means 1 Australian dollar. This is what the exchange rate is all about. Which currency from the table above is the weakest? So, you need 13 rands for $1. Okay, let's first start here. The South African rand is weaker than all of them. You need 13 for 1, 10 for 1, 18 for 1, 15 for 1, 9 for 1. The South African rand is weaker than all of these currencies. But that's not what they ask you. They ask you which currency from the table above is the weakest. And now guess what? Because they didn't mention South African rand here, if they had mentioned it, we're going to say that it is South African rand which is the weakest, because indeed it's the weakest against all of them. But they say you have to look at this table, which one is the weakest. So the one that is the weakest here is the one that you need the least money or the small amount of money to buy the South African rand. Okay, this is the strongest of them all. Let's put it number 1. This is the second strongest, number 2. Third strongest, number 3. Fourth strongest, number 4. Fifth strongest. So this is our currency which is the weakest, because you need 18, very strong. 15, strong. Strong? Oh, strong. Okay, strong. This one slightly stronger because you need 9 rands to buy the Australian dollar. So that means the Australian dollar is the one which is the weakest. So here are Australian dollar is the weakest. Explain what this would mean to a South Africa traveling overseas. Would be better to travel to Australia. Would be cost effective to travel to Australia than to travel to, let's say, Britain. Why? Because for 9 rands, you are going to get 1 Australian dollar. Whereas in Britain, you need 18 rands to get 1 British pound. So it's better to go to Australia than to go to Britain. I mean that in this context. Don't be bashing me and be like, what? 2.2.2. Mrs. Nkosi receives 1,200 British pounds from her aunt who apparently lives in Britain. Use the table above to calculate the rand value of... Okay, so the table above, to use it, let's come here. Let's just simply come here. What are we going to say here? We are going to say this is 2.2.2. What is the currency? We are talking about the British currency. It says that you remember this fancy E? 1 British pound is equal to 18.06 rands. Now the question is, left or right? Left or right? Where are our British pounds? They're on the left. Therefore, let's come here and say 1,200 is equals to X. What do we cancel X and a 1? If they're seated across, what do? We multiply them. Multiply by 18.06. Let's see what we have. So 1,200 multiplied by 18.06. We are actually getting... I should have put a rand first. It's fine. We're actually getting that it becomes... If I can't put a rand, I'll put a Z at the end. It becomes 21,672. So that's how much it is in South Africa. If it's 1,200 in Britain, it comes to South Africa, it becomes 21,672. So, this is unrelated. This is so unrelated, but because either way, I guess this can be a bonus, but it's unrelated. After Mrs. Nkosi exchanged the money, she was charged. The reason why I say it's unrelated is because it's this is where we are. We are trying to make you understand how to exchange, but it's fine. Mrs. Nkosi exchanged the money. She was charged 200.80. Exchanging money in South Africa consists of administration fee. So there's an admin fee of 1,125 and a commission fee of 2.28% of the amount exchanged. Verify all calculations whether she was charged the correct. So this is what she was charged. But apparently you have to pay this, and you also have to pay 2.28 of that particular amount of money that you received. So let's come here and say 2.2.3. So first of all, we need to know what is 2.28 of whatever she received, which is 21,672. So let's go to our calculator quickly and say 2.28. When we divide it by 100, and you want to know exactly 21672. So it says that she was supposed to be charged as a commission. She was supposed to be charged this much plus the 125, which you are obviously supposed to be charged in terms of admin, plus 125. So what do we get? We actually get that she was supposed to be charged 619 point rounded off to 2 decimal places 0.12. So she was not charged the correct amount. Not charged the correct amount. So she was not charged the correct amount. 2.2.4, exchange rates fluctuate all the time. List 1 reasons. Like I told you, political instabilities, political tensions, foreign investment, interest rates, inflation. Pick one for yourself. Supply and demand, exchange rate policy. anything can fluctuate like the interest rate. Even you yourself, not studying, you are by virtue fluctuating exchange rate. Yes, you are. Yes, you who has not subscribed to my channel, you are by virtue of not subscribing to my channel fluctuating the exchange rate. What are you still doing? Subscribe then. Stop fluctuating the exchange rate. Suraya has established that the cost of relocating a family of four from New Zealand is approximately 280,000. Her husband is an entrepreneur and wants to start his own business in New Zealand. Suraya, who is a teacher, would need a skilled migrant resident visa, while her husband will need an entrepreneur's visa. A skilled migrant visa costs 2,093 euros. A visa for entrepreneurs costs 4,745 New Zealand dollars. Okay, in different aspects. Shows, okay, these are the exchange rate. This is what we are dealing with. And so let's see. 5.2.1, it says that determine the exchange rate. So the exchange rate of the New Zealand dollar in terms of the euros. In the form 1 New Zealand dollar is equal to what euros. We have a problem here. Yes, we do. And I know you can tell. They're asking us to change. Remember, we only learned that you can change if they've given you that particular exchange rate. Well, look at the table. There is no exchange rate that has to do with the New Zealand dollar and also the euros in particular. It's only New Zealand dollar and the South African rand. It's only euros and the South African rand. There is no euros to dollars or New Zealand dollars to euros. What do we do? I'm glad you asked. Yes, let me show you how we do it. First of all, we are going to take them at their common denominator. What's their common denominator? The euros can be exchanged for 1 South African rand. The New Zealand dollar can be exchanged for 1 South African rand. So we are going to use that to see exactly what is the New Zealand dollar against the euro. First thing that we are going to do, we are going to write both those exchange rates. So the first one, which is the euros, it says that if you have 0.0581,765, you can actually earn yourself a 1 South African rand again quickly. One, which one is stronger, which one is weaker? By now you should know that. This is stronger, this one is weaker. And then we also have another one for New Zealand dollars. So New Zealand dollars, which says that if you have 0.09699907, you can actually earn yourself 1 South African rand. Which one's strong? This one is stronger, this one is weaker. Now, how are we going to deal with this? Well, we can simply say that if it is like this, it is the same as saying that 0.0581,765 euros is actually equals to New Zealand dollars. It's equals to 0.0969907 New Zealand dollars. Why? Because they all equate to 1. So we can equate them to themselves. That's how you do this one. Pay attention to this. That's how you do this one, because one day you're going to come across such and you need to be able to do it. Now, they said we should put it in a form of 1 New Zealand dollar is equals to how many euros. So this one is just a ratio. Again, I made a video about ratios. If you still do not understand them, go and watch that video about ratios, because here it's more like simplifying the ratio, or it's more like doing a unit ratio. So you are going to divide by what they want us to start with. That is the New Zealand. We are going to say 0.0969907. We are going to do the same on the euro, 0.0969907. This will cancel this. We are going to have 1 New Zealand dollar is equals to, let's go to our calculator and say what's 0.05818181765. When you divide it by 0.0969907, it actually says that what you are getting is 0. So these are euros. It's 0.59981525. Let's put it in the form that they want it. It says 1 New Zealand dollar is a ratio that is to 0.599811525 euros. That is how you do that one. Now, let's continue. The second one says 5.2.2. So this was 5.2.1. So the second one is 5.2.2. Calculate rounded to the nearest 100. This is a 6 mark, so we must take things seriously here. We have been taking things seriously, right? I suppose. Rounded off to the nearest 100 again. If you haven't, or if you do not understand how to round off, go and watch the video that I made with regards to rounding off. It's there. Go watch it. You'll be fine. You'll thank me later. The total cost of 2 visas that they will require. So the total cost of 2 visas that they will require. So we must make them 2 against the rand. But the problem that we have is that the one is in euros, the one is in New Zealand dollar. So what we are supposed to do is that we're going to have to go step by step. Let's first convert the one that is in euros, and then we'll convert the one that is in New Zealand dollars, and then we are going to add them together. So what's the euro exchange rate to the South African rand? Well, it's the one that says that 0.0581765 is equals to, actually it's equals to 1 rand or 1 ZAR. It's the same thing. Where is our euros? On the left. What are they? They are actually 2093. Here we have an X. We cancel an X and the 1. They are on the same side. We divide them. 2093 divide by 0.0581765. Let's see what we get. So when you say 2093 and then you divide it by 0.0581765, what do you get? You actually get that you need 35,976.726 rands. So ZAR. That's the first visa for a migrant, for a skilled migrant. For an entrepreneur, it's the one in New Zealand dollars. So what does the New Zealand dollars say? It says that for the New Zealand dollars, 0.0969907 is actually equal to 1 South African rand. Where is our New Zealand dollars? On the left. Therefore, we are going to say New Zealand dollars on the left. 4745 is equals to X. Cancel X, cancel 1. You're left with these ones. What do you do to them? You have to divide them. You're going to say 4,745 divide by 0.0969907. What do you get? So again, calculator. 4,745. You divide it by 0.09699 and then 07. You actually get that it's going to be 48,922.2. I didn't round off the first one, so let's continue with this one. ZAR as well. Now we have to, using a different color, we have to add these rands to these rands and see exactly how much will they need in total. Exactly how much will they need in total. So let's continue. So let's, right here, we can simply say that 35,976.226 plus 48,922.21625. Because we already have a number which is on our calculator, let's just say plus 35,976.226. It's not 226. What did I write? It's 726. It's 726. Let me go back. It's not 226. That's very wrong. It's 726. 726. Sorry about that. I feel like now it has changed the whole thing. Knowing the calculator, it has changed the whole thing. So let's just say 35,976.226. Again. 726 plus. What's happening with this? Where did I get this 226? My handwriting. It needs an improvement, right? It needs a facelift. If it were a facelift, what would you call it if it had to do with the handwriting? A hand lift? That sounds very wrong. Very, very wrong. What's a hand lift? It's whereby you're trying to improve your handwriting. Anyways, the answer is supposed to be 84,898.94225. He said we should round it off to the nearest hundred. So it's going to be 84,900. And that, beings of human, it's how you exchange your rates. Thank you. Keep well.